Hello students, welcome to your computer science class. Today we are starting with a new chapter, functions. So up till now, you all know the Python fundamentals, we did the data types, then you all started to write the small programs, and then I introduced you all slowly to if else, that is conditional statements. Then we did loops. We all did two types of loop, the while loop and the for loop. And now we are moving further and we are learning functions, which is chapter 7. Okay, so now what happens in function is basically, I like the example that they have given over here. Okay, let's say there is a company that is manufacturing tents as per the user's requirements, and the shape of the tent is cylindrical, surmounted by a conical top. So now what does the company do? Company is doing lots of tasks to fix the selling price of each tent. So first he is going to accept the user requirements from the tent, which is height, radius, and what is the slant height of the conical part. Then they are going to calculate the canvas used. Then they will calculate the cost of the canvas used for making that tent. Then they will calculate the net payable amount by the consumer, including 18% tax. So now, if the company has a computer program for quick and accurate calculation, how will it be done? So this is the program that they have given us. Okay, first it is print, enter the values for the cylindrical part of the tent in meters, and height and radius is being taken, and the length of the slant height has been taken, and these three variables are there, h, r and l. All right, next what are they saying? They are doing calculations. They are calculating the area of the conical part, and they're calculating the area of the cylindrical part. Now, calculate the area of the canvas used for making the tent. How are they doing that? They are calculating this area by adding the area of the conical part plus area of the cylindrical part. They are adding these two and they're making it. Next, print the area of the canvas is so and so meter square. Now they are calculating the cost. So what are they taking? We are taking two things. We are first taking what is the cost of 1 meter canvas from the user. So whatever the cost the user will give us, we are going to multiply it by the canvas area and we will get the total cost, and we are going to say the total cost of canvas is so and so. Finally, we are going to add 18%. So we will add 18% to the cost and we will say net payable amount is so and so. But this is something you all have been able to do up till now. I don't think any of this is new. Correct? I think you all already know this. This is nothing new. Let's see the program now. Here is the program. And we know what this kind of programs you all have done. You all understand what these kind of programs are. There is no if else also in this program. There is no loops. This is a simple sequential flow program. Correct? So where do the functions come in? Now, let's say the company took another approach to solve the problem, and they divided the program into different blocks of code. Okay, so let's say there is one code which calculates the surface area of the cylindrical part, one code that calculates the curved area of the conical part, and one that calculates the tax and net price. Now, how does this work? So when you divide a computer program into different blocks of code or separate sub-programs, and each program or each block of code should have a different name. See, right now when we used to do block of codes and all, it used to be inside the for loop or else loop, if else loop, with that indentation. No, I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of in simple computer terms, when we save a file, we give a name to that file. Yes, and that file means everything written in that file is indicated or referred to with that particular name. Similarly, I'm talking of some blocks, some lines of code which I can name them, I can define them, that when I, for example, let's say I say calculate tax, I will write the words calculate tax, and that word should run some 7-8 lines in the background. Okay, so basically we are talking about creating functions. If you all remember, we have done range function. When you type the word range and you give some words in some numbers in the brackets, it does some work. Correct. Similarly, we are talking about customized function where we make the functions. So the process of dividing a computer program into separate independent blocks of code or separate sub problems with different names and specific functionalities is known as modular programming. This concept is called as modular programming. This programming is a very uh, efficient approach. This is the approach which is used in most of the softwares or applications that you all see. Like I was talking to Jhanvi and Om the other day, Jhanvi and Manas the other day, like I told you all both had different takes on the supermarket project. And hence, both of you all have done different modules of supermarket. Similarly, if I give you all a library project, each of you are going to think of it in a different manner and do something else. But if I give you all as a teamwork, I say, okay, both of you do it, or three of you do it together, or four of you do it together, then what are you all going to do? You're going to divide your work. You're going to say, okay, you do this part, I do this part, this one does this part. And not only in programming, even if I tell you all to present a PPT together as a group, you all divide the work, that you do the introduction, you do the conclusion, I will do this part. This division of program or dividing a program into sub blocks, sub problems, and each sub problems having specific name or functionality. This entire concept is called modular programming. Up till now, we have not done modular programming. Up till now, the programs that we have made, they themselves run together. Now we are going to learn modular programming. We will learn about the benefits of this approach. In this chapter, you will even learn about the benefits. So we come to the main concept of this entire chapter, functions. In programming, the use of function is one of the means to achieve the modularity and the reusability. Very important, reusability. For example, let's say we have an application that we are making for whosoever, and we have login screen over there where we ask for username and password. Okay, and you're going to check it against the database, and if it's correct, you will say enter. If it's not correct, you will say not enter. Correct. Now let's say you in your application, instead of treating it as 1 minute, or let's say take this over here, we are taking height, radius, and length. So in this application, we are using it right over here. For if I tell you all, make one more program and just calculate the area of cylinder over there. What are you going to do? You're either going to copy paste this code because you kids are smart, or you're going to write this code all over again. Correct? But what if I tell you there was a third way in which you write the code once, give it a name, you just call for the name over there, you call for the module over there. That is exactly what functions is going to enable us to do. So if in an application we have username, password, code ready, put everything ready, and tomorrow I have to design one more application for another store, I can reuse my code because I'm making it in the modular programming form. If I make it in the sequential programming form, I will have to do many changes. If you haven't understood it here, I will explain to you this as and when we see the application of this in our programs. Right now, understand the concept of reusability. That if a particular function is working for one app or one game or something, replicating it in another game becomes easy if it is modular programming. Reusability becomes easy. So functions can be defined. This is the definition of functions, okay? From year to year. Functions can be defined as a named group of instructions that accomplish a specific task when it is invoked. Once defined, a function can be called repeatedly from different places of the program without writing all the codes of that function every time. Okay, it can also be called from inside another function. Okay, all these things may look alien to you right now. As and when we will use it, you will understand it, but you must remember these things. So I request you to make notes on these functions and write them down in your notebooks, especially from this paragraph. So you can even call the function from the inside of another function by simply writing the name of the function and passing the required parameters. Parameters are arguments that the function may need. It is not compulsory. Depending on the type of function we make, we may require parameters or we may not require parameters. The programmers can define as many functions as desired while writing the code. The program 7.1, the one that we saw, is rewritten using different functions as shown in program 7.2. Now, the keyword that you use to make a function is def or define. Now, how does this work? So let's say this is our program, okay? And I'm going to take a new one. I'm taking one more file over here. Over here, I'm going to show you all how do you make them into functions. Okay, so over here I have print values for the cylindrical part of the tent in meters, this. So I'm taking this entire thing. Okay, I'm going to say, all right, so I'm going to take an entirely new example over here because that example it will get a little confusing because it is using parameters and return functions and it is calling one function from another probably. So I will take that example to explain it in the future, but right now we'll just take another example. Okay, so for example, I have a function. So define is the keyword that we use to create a function. After using def, you have to give a name of the function. So let's say the name of my function is hw. Okay, this is the name I want to use. There is the rules for naming a function is same as the rules of naming a variable. All right, and then I have to use a colon. I go back and I'm saying print. As you can see, indentation has come over here. Hello world. That's it. Okay. Understanding. So now this line, print hello world, is I'm defining this line or I'm naming this line as HW. All right, and I'm going to save it. So it will tell me you want to save it. So I will just say understanding functions. Now when I run it, okay, my error was I did not put a open bracket, close bracket over here. I will explain you the meaning of that in just a while. So I've done this and I'm running this program. And can you all see I have no output? I have no output. Okay, and that is because I have not called this program anywhere. I am not using this program. I have only created a program. Very important. I have only created the program. I have not used the program anywhere still. So I go to the next line, I go outside. Don't go inside, otherwise you will be inside the function. Okay, I have not created the function. I have only created the function. I have not used it anywhere. To use the function, I just have to write HW, open bracket, close bracket. Now let's run it. I have hello world. So this is how you define a function. Define a function or create a function is the same thing. And below it, I have shown you all how to use the function. Creating a function in itself is useless if you're not going to use the function. All right, how is this useful for us? For example, let's say I want to, let's open one of our old files. Let's open one of our old files. Let's see which GST calculator we have done. Multiple if statements. We did random also now. Let's open simple interest. All right. Let's say I have this program of simple interest and I want to use a function. Okay. So I will use two functions for this. Number one, I will say define, and I'm going to use input or any other word, but input will become input is a keyword. We know that, and we can't use keywords. So I will just take def and I will say, let's say, taking information from the user. So let's say info, open bracket, close bracket, enter. And in this, I'm only going to put this down. Okay. And finally, I have one more, okay, which says calculate. Define calculate. Let's say it is calculate SI. And it says result equals to PRT. And if, and then I have to say return result. I'll explain you what I did here so that you understand. Also over here, I have to give the values P, R, T. Otherwise, my function will not work. I'll explain you that very soon also. Let's just run the program and see if it's working first. Okay, so now how will this program run? If I directly run it, I'm just going to get an output which says the simple interest would be, and then because result is not a variable that I have defined anywhere outside the functions, it is going to give me an error over here. It is going to give me an error because result is a variable that I have declared inside a function. That means the scope of this variable is only, that means I can use this variable only inside the function calculate SI. I cannot use this function outside. You can think of this as your house clothes. Let's say you have house clothes. You can't wear it outside the house. You can only wear it inside the house. So this is a local variable. Now, when I say return result, that means wherever this program will be called, over there at the end of the program, whatever is there inside this word result, whatever is the value, will be given back. So whenever I'm going to call this particular program function, I have to make sure I have a variable to catch this answer that I get back. Okay, so look at the difference between this function and this function. Inside the bracket over here, I have PRT. Can you see it? I have PRT. PRT are the variables that I am telling that I will need these variables whenever we call for this function. This is necessary to send me these variables because using these variables, I'm doing a calculation and then I'm giving a result, and that result is going to be returned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that particular function from my info function. So over here, I'm going to say calculate underscore SI, open bracket, close bracket, and over here again, I'm going to say P, R, T. Now, P, R, T are declared here, they take some value and they go here. When we go here, this is going to jump to this function, it is going to do some calculation and it is going to return me a value. Where am I saving that value over here? Nowhere. So over here, I will save the value. Let's say I am saving it in answer. ANS equals to whatever I get back after doing this calculation. And then at the end of this, I am saying return answer. So whatever answer I'm saying, I'm sending it back because over here, I'm going to say info, open bracket, close bracket, and I'm going to say res equals to info, And over here, I'm going to say res. Okay. All right. Now let me explain to you the flow of this program first, because this is a different kind of a flow from the one that you are used to. Okay. So pay lots of attention over here, please. All right. Number one, when you have a program in which you have these functions, you have def used. The program execution does not start from here. When Python will see this program, it is not going to run this line. It at the moment is going to skip this line, skip this entire part. It's going to skip this entire part. It's going to come here. When it comes there, it's going to see res as a variable. What is res? It's a variable. And what does that variable do? That variable is saying equals to info. It is calling this particular function. So it will jump to that function. So it will come here. Now when it comes here, remember when I called for this function, I have written nothing in the brackets because I want nothing in the brackets. This is where we say if we want something. I want nothing. So we say open bracket, close bracket, it goes, it jumps here. When it goes in this program, it will ask the user for principal amount, then rate, then time. Once it gets these three, my next line of code is, again, I'm taking a variable and I'm saying it will store the value, whatever will come back after this function is executed. So my flow of control will run here. Now I'm going to jump to another function. And remember, when I call this function over here, I'm sending the value that I took from the user as P, R, and T. Same values, I'm sending it to this function because this function asks for it. This function does not ask for it. This function asks for something. So these are called parameters, or these are called arguments of a function. Not all functions need arguments. Some functions need arguments. So I have sent that values over here. Okay. So another thing to see, this function was called from inside this function. All right. Now it has come back here, okay, and it has whatever it came here, it went inside and it has taken a variable result, it has done the calculation and it is saving it in the name called result and it is returning the result. So it comes back here and this whatever was there inside the word result goes and stores in the word answer. Then we say return answer. So from where has this program been called? Answer goes back over there. It goes here. And it goes and it saves itself in res. And finally, we say the simple interest would be and we print it. Clear? I'll explain to you once again, once you see the program, how it's executed. So it says enter the principal amount. So I say 56, interest rate 6, years 4. The simple interest would be 13.44. Now, the reason why these things are good or needed, another thing, I can directly, I repeat, I can directly use this function to calculate interest rate and print it. So I can say print function. Print is a function that uses to display data on screen, and inside it I'm using calculate underscore si, open bracket, close bracket, and inside this I am putting values. So I am saying P as 8, R as 2, T as 9, for example. Let's say if this runs. Okay, number one, I want this to run first. Okay, let's this run. Okay, saying it's not defined. let's say I have ABC equals to oh, this was my error. It was not two underscores, it's one underscore. Let's run this and see. 1.44. It has done the calculation based on the numbers I gave. So if I use functions, I can also directly give the numbers I want instead of taking it from the user. At the same time, if I want to take the user, I can send it to the user. So now, number one, most important takeaways in this is number one, how do you create a function? By using DEF. Number two, if you do not execute or do not call the function explicitly, the function is not going to be used. It's not going to take place. Okay, so over here in this program, this is one function. It takes parameters. Another function takes parameters. This function also takes parameters. This is returning some value. This is also returning some value. This is also returning some value. The program execution will start from here when it starts in Python. Finally, over here we are calling the function. We are calling the function. Okay. So before your next class, I want you all to do the reading of the advantages of function and stay ready because I will start with user-defined functions, which we have done right now. With this, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.